we're all having a good time here chatting with ourselves. So thank you for tuning in. And today you're at the second of three presentations on peace building. And this one is Take Club Peace Building to the Next Level. And our presenters are Jessica Bouillon. She's the District Peace Builder Committee Chair. And we have Beth Baska, and she's the, with Mercer Island, and she's the chair of the Mercer Island Peace Builder Committee. And I'm Ryan Hamilton. I'm with the University Sunrise Rotary Club. And Jessica, I don't think I mentioned which club. Jessica's in Seattle 4. So
thank you.
Getting you. So let's go to the next slide here. And we always like to remind, we do all this stuff, and why do we do it? The vision of Rotary International, together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities and in ourselves. So just one little item about how to ask questions and such. Most of you have tuned into other presentations. We use the Q&A button and the raise hand button. And so if you have a question, ask it anytime, and then probably about, well, at the end, we'll have you ask your question. We'll unmute you then. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Jessica, and go ahead and begin.
Thank you. So yes, I'm Jessica Bouillon. I'm thrilled to be here. I have a little theme going since I'm doing 3 sessions this week with you all on peace building. So for folks who joined us yesterday, here's a very similar slide just to give you a quick intro about me. And I realized this was also sort of a little bit of a disclaimer slide as well, because I let everybody know that I have a beagle in the house. And yesterday I gave a few other pictures of his recent birthday celebration. Today, as I'm getting better at these presentations, I brought him to school, and that's his little pack of friends. And hopefully what he's doing right now is on the right-hand side here of your screen, taking a snoozer. But if you happen to hear any little sounds, that's him. We're learning about what it means to have presentations at home. So he was really good last night until about 6:30 when he wanted dinner. You can keep on going, Ryan. So tonight we are going to, I hope we have a mix of folks. I'm excited because we're nearly at where we were last night. We had about 20 people join us. We took some very interesting surveys last night, and I'm hoping we have some new folks tonight, as well as some repeat customers from yesterday. And I want to start off with 2 surveys very consecutively to get us started with this incredible session, which is going to be a lot more about wonderful peace building projects. So Ryan, if you could do sort of, there we go.
Perfect. Yeah, it's actually, I did it with 1 survey with 2 questions.
Oh, that's great, fine.
Yeah,
perfect.
Very complicated.
No, thank you.
Oh.
So the first question we just wanted to know is, does your Rotary Club already engage in peace building? A similar question if you did join us last night. Just, you know, keep participating with us. Just wanting to sense from folks what you're all up to and who we have with us. And then that second question is going to sort of come back to us at the end of tonight's session. Are you ready to take your peace building efforts to the next level this coming Rotary year? So should be very quick.
Yeah, we'll give it 13 of 16 have voted. We'll give it 10 more seconds.
Fabulous.
Good enough. There we go. And share results.
Great. Wonderful. Not sure. And we're ready. Okay. This is wonderful. So we have a great and interesting 69% of you here are already doing your peace building work. So I'm very excited to see that. And 77% ready to roll. Well, then I'm really glad that we're doing this tonight because we have some wonderful voices. Beth is one of them, to share some of the inspirational work that they're doing. Ryan, we can keep on clicking away. So this is a very similar slide from last night, just some reminders, nothing that I need to read verbatim at all to you. And with so many people involved in peace building efforts, I know that we're preaching to the choir, but just things to remember. You know, peace is really the cornerstone of Rotary's mission, and we're here to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace. And Ryan, if you can click over to the next slide. This is the way to do it in our own communities, and having the ripple effect is really how I feel about peace building work. And so here's some larger aspects in terms of what peace building can mean, and already probably does mean in many of your clubs, from service projects to peace centers. We have talked a little bit about those peace centers and the peace fellowships. And Thursday, for our last session together on peace building and peace building in our district, we'll dive deeper into those things. I'm sure many of you are familiar with peace polls, and even some maybe educational trainings and programs as well. And so these are very broad strokes, and we will be diving into some particulars this session and next, so that we can start seeing what might inspire you all to take your peace building efforts to the next level. So Ryan, let's see if our next, so this is a slide that we did share last night for folks who joined us, and this is clubs that we are aware of that are doing peace projects. There was one comment last night, which I was grateful for, from a Rotarian from West Seattle, talking about some of the projects they did. And so this is also a slide for my urgency and my plea to you all, that if you are in a club that is engaging in some kind of peace efforts that we don't know about, or that maybe not on the Rotary peace map, and if you're not familiar with that either, we can talk, but please let me know, and I'll share my contact information again at the end of tonight, because we want to know that you are working on peace building efforts, and we want to do a lot more sharing. So please, let somebody saying Sammamish is a peace club. So yes, thank you. So we will be adding to this. So that's sort of my my slide for asking for this kind of feedback. So thank you. Ryan, we can go one more. So this is, there's if it works, we're going to test the tech here. This is a little bit over 1 minute video from Matt Albertson, who contributed to our session tonight, just sharing with you about his peace building efforts at Seattle 4.
Yep, I have it here. It's, it'll look a little like it's dubbed. The voice didn't exactly match, and so you can pretend he's,
that way.
yeah, you can pretend Matt's speaking German, and then we dubbed English over it. So let's see here. I think, yeah, that one should be. Here he is. How about that? Can you see that?
We can see, I can see it, yep.
Okay, actually I need to do one other thing. Share the computer sound. Okay.
Hi, I'm Matt Albertson, and I have co-chaired Seattle 4 Rotary's Peace Builders Committees the past 2 years. The Peace Builders Committee's mission is to encourage and empower all members of our communities to exercise mutual respect, understanding, and cooperation, and to advocate both locally and globally for peace and nonviolent resolution of conflict. Now, I became interested in peace building because of an experience I had traveling abroad with a local NGO that does citizen diplomacy trips. Now, these are bringing together folks from 2 different countries who had been at war in the past and helping mend those wounds of war and build relationships between populations who, might not inherently trust each other, or have misconceptions and preconceived notions. So I actually see Seattle 4's Peace Builders Committee as an opportunity to continue to have an international peace building impact, but from right here in Seattle. Peace Builders in Seattle have supported a variety of issues, from peace education with peace polls, activities, and peace centers, to anti-racist efforts with programs, group book reads and discussions, and support for refugees, as well as ending sex trafficking by supporting various projects and building awareness in our community, and many more. And we're looking forward to continuing the great work and hope that you'll get involved with it as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. I am grateful to Matt for sharing that with us. I don't know if everybody knows, Matt is a wonderful fellow Rotarian of mine at Seattle 4, and he works in the philanthropy department at KUOW. And I probably don't have to say much more than that. They are so busy right now, both in terms of all of the responsiveness that station is doing for our community in terms of COVID and every other piece of news that's out there, and then trying to raise the dollars. So I begged him to do this for us, and I'm thrilled that he was able to take the time. I also begged Beth to take some time out of her busy schedule wearing 1,000 hats, and I feel like we all are wearing more hats now that we're confined home somehow. But I had the distinct pleasure and honor to get to know Beth and folks from the Rotary Club of Mercer Island already last year. I can't believe time has flown, as they were getting ready for their very special project. And so I'm going to turn it over to Beth to share a bit about their amazing peace building efforts.
Well, thank you so much, Jessica. I'm just so honored and thrilled to be able to join you this evening and share a little bit of insight about how it came to be, and the project that we've done so far, and the ones that we're going to continue to do in the future. So one of the things that really was an attraction to me for Rotary, I have been a Rotarian now for 16 years, and my grandfather was also a Rotarian, and so was my dad at Mercer Island Rotary. And I just love the fact that people can join Rotary and have an idea, and then be able to take that idea to kind of unknown heights, and really kind of make it a movement of its own. And so when we were designated as a peace club, I had just returned from the district conference and had attended a breakout session. And if you could go to the next slide.
So you actually can see the slides?
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's a miracle right there. Okay.
Thank you very much. So anyway, I love this notion from Thomas Edison that, it's really the value of an idea is actually lies in the using of it. And so that's what we were really wanting to be able to do. So the next slide would be great. And so for a number of years, I had the good fortune of being able to sit on our foundation board. And for quite a while, we'd be in conversation about our memorial fund and what to do with those generous folks that when they had passed, they had left a little money along the way for our foundation board. And we had had lots of dialogue over the years about what we would do with that. Would we do benches? Would we do, there's all kinds of wonderful ideas that we were investigating and researching. And so after seeing the district conference, I returned to the board and said, look, I really think we could do something with peace bowls. And so that's kind of how the idea began, in terms of being a little bit of a germ of an idea. And then I'll tell you what, when you plant it and you water it, and it has a tendency to grow, and that's exactly what took place. Next slide, please. So not that much longer after the board approved the ability to utilize the funds to construct essentially a walk for peace. We started with 2 poles, and we planted these in December of 2017, one at the JCC. They had unfortunately experienced a bomb threat. And so we were really compelled, given all that they do for our community and for the Jewish community beyond Mercer Island as well, to really help make a statement about our belief as Rotarians in supporting organizations like theirs, and finding, again, all those peaceful resolutions to our differences. And then the second pole that we planted was at our Rotary Park. on Mercer Island. So that's where it began. We did find a wonderful vendor. We wanted to be able to find poles that we knew would last over time, and that they would be complementary to kind of the woods feel, and they wouldn't be too intrusive in terms of where we had hoped to be able to plant them. Next slide, please. So after those first two were planted, then the real work began, because it's kind of amazing when you have an idea about what something could look like, and then all of a sudden there's all these constituencies that you need to have conversation with, because these poles would be planted on a wide variety of different property lines. So we were engaged in this with the City of Mercer Island, Parks and Recreation, City Council, Mercer Island School District, and the King County Library System. And each of them had their own considerations. Each of them had their own questions. And all of them were very valid. There were a couple that were surprising, because they were also a little bit about where we are in terms of our times. They were concerned about the height of the poles and those kinds of things. So we walked through all of those questions peacefully, and ultimately ended up installing 20 different peace poles all around Mercer Island, 20 of them which are on a walkable path. So that was our ultimate outcome, was to be able to plant these poles and then be able to have our first annual Walk for Peace. Next slide, please. So this is just, this is a little bit of a promotion, if you will, of that. As we know, every time that September 21st rolls around, we have our annual day of celebration for peace. And so that's what we started with, was the ability for us to really begin promoting that. And it was just very well attended, and very well, a lot of people were inspired by it. Next slide, please. So the following year, what we did is we actually had the walkable paths all together. We had maps, we had promotion, we put it on our website. We included everyone in the district. Obviously, love to have as many participants as possible. We had a registration that was embedded within the website. So there, and again, we're more than happy to help anybody who would like to be able to integrate something like this into their own club, because the more things that we can jointly share information, and everyone gets to be able to collaborate that way. So it might not be exactly like this one, and it might not be necessarily peace poles at all, but the ability for each of us to really share information is so incredibly valuable. So we, next slide, please. Sorry, I'm so used to be able to clicking through my own slides. It's kind of different, but it's working fine. Okay, so we actually ended up having 2 different walkable paths, sorry, a total of 3 in the end. We had one at the north end, we had one that was kind of the middle section of Mercer Island, and then we also had one in the south. And so people joined first at Rotary Park. And then we actually had a dove release in honor of the International Day of Peace. And then people went to their variety of different walkable paths, and it was lovely. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to personally be there, which was a little disappointing, but my husband was awarded an opportunity to teach in New Zealand. So that's the other fun part about having a wonderful team of people that are all volunteers. And, you know, they were all very inspired by the project. So it was all wonderful and fun to actually release and allow everybody else to do the work. It was awesome. So, all right, so next slide, please. Every participant received an envelope, and I loved being able to see earlier the logo that you're utilizing, Jessica. That is the one that we had on our envelope, which is great. And you know, we had 18 different quotes, so there were 18 polls that were part of the walkable paths, and each one of the different quotes was in a different colored paper, and that was really our giveaway, if you will. That's our takeaway, so that people are ongoing being able to be reminded about the beauties and wonders of peace. So our committee came together to decide on which one of those quotes we would choose. Next slide, please. And then at the end of each one of these walks, we also gave people the benefit of an Ambassador of Peace certificate, just as an additional reminder about why they were there that day and the the beauty of what they had an opportunity to participate in, and something that they could take home and even frame if they wanted to, or put on a wall, whatever they chose. But again, just a reminder of the experience. Next, please. So this was our plea to the club about what we were looking for. So we needed volunteers that were at each pole for the benefit of that day. We needed to, just kind of help get out that save the date flyer, and then making sure that everybody knew that there was no bounds to who was able to, or, we were going to make it available for absolutely everyone to participate in. Next slide. So that is kind of wrapping it up. But the thing that I love so much about this quote, Maya is one of my favorites, is that, hate, it has caused a whole lot of problems in our world, but has not yet solved one. And I think that's a lot about what we can do as Rotarians, is that, again, this was a vision. And then there's a group of people that come together and they want to help, and they want to make it possible for the vision to become something that was really an extraordinary opportunity. And it will be an annual thing that we will do. And then we'll add in some additional things as well as time progresses. So thank you so much for the opportunity to share our contribution to the Peace Projects.
Thank you very much. This is just to me, just an astounding collaborative community and Rotarian initiative that is, I think, highly successful and something to be annual. And it's just a wonderful highlight to share. So thank you so much. I also want to make sure that everybody knows Beth has to pop off to do her next changing of her hats, but please know that during Q&A, if there are any, we will be more than happy to take them down and pass them along to her. She's been gracious enough to say that she is more than happy, obviously, to share her slide deck and I'm sure answer questions in between. So realize that tonight the conversation can continue long after our sessions are over.
Absolutely. Thank you again so much for the opportunity, Jessica, and everyone stay safe and well out there. Good night.
You as well. Thank you. Talk soon.
Thank you, Beth.
And Ryan, if you don't mind flipping us along here. So I'm really excited to, I'm lending my voice this evening for the Rotary Club of Woodinville. I also have had the pleasure of getting to know Irv, who's the Peacebuilding Committee Chair at Rotary Club of Woodinville, and he is also preparing himself to do a session tonight for the festival training right after this. So he has helped me up until this last moment, and then I promised him I would serve in his stead so he can get ready for his session. And this is another example that I hope some folks are aware of, that number one, the Rotary Club of Woodinville is very dedicated to peace, and this is something from their website in terms of putting out into the world their focus areas in terms of their peace building efforts. And then Ryan, you can move forward. I'm going to share with you a bit from what sort of this history of the next few slides about their incredible park project that they were working on for several years and made happen. So this is me sharing what Irv has shared with all of us about this project. Our Peace Pole project in downtown Woodinville, I hope many of you have gotten to see this. If not, we should all take, I guess, a social distancing field trip and see it together, was the most rewarding project that I've ever participated in, he says. It was the result of a few circumstances coming together, a few doors opening, and our readiness to walk through those newly opened doors. The city council members of the city of Woodinville had determined that the downtown park, situated on the main street running through Woodinville, was in need of substantial renovation. So the Woodinville Rotary Club had just made the commitment to be a peace builder club at around the same time. Peace poles had recently come into our consciousness, in large part due to our member and future district governor, Alex Hopkins, talking about his desire to make peace poles a part of his time as district governor a few years ago. Some of our astute Peace Builder Rotary Club members noticed that there were 20 unpainted concrete pillars that were holding up an arbor in the park, which was to be renovated. Highly focused and persistent efforts on the part of a few of our Rotary Club members, plus the positive support of the Woodinville City Council, plus the assistance of our Woodinville Arts Commission, resulted in us locating 20 sponsors who would cover the cost of their sponsored peace pole, including the payment of the artist who would be chosen to paint each individual peace pole. So the unpainted concrete pillars became lovely peace poles. The results can be seen in some of the photos that he has shared with us. Ryan, you can flip to the next one. Take a few, everybody can take a few minutes to look at these. The results can be seen in the photos depicting this lovely peace pole forest in downtown Woodinville. Each peace pole has a plaque on it which refers to the importance of peace. The peace poles stand as silent witnesses to the importance of bringing peace to our world. All of our Rotary Club members take great pride in collaborating with non-Rotarian groups, which were in this case, the City Council and the Arts Commission, to bring this all to fruition. And there's even one more slide, Ryan, you can show. So this is wonderful. These are recent photos. Irv took a walk, I think last week, to send me some just updated photos. I think this is an incredible project for a variety of reasons. One, these were existing concrete pillars that now turned into peace poles. So another way to sort of repurpose and rethink about the peace pole initiative in and of itself. Obviously, this is a wonderful and direct result of community peace building. And I absolutely love and want to always be someone who's a proponent of collaboration and partnership. And I really admire the Rotary Club of Woodinville for reaching out to City Council and then the Arts Commission and allowing each of these pillars to be commissioned by a particular artist and everything being paid for them to create their own unique art through peace as the theme. Ryan, you can keep us moving. So another project that I hope some of you who are on tonight are familiar with just from last summer. This was primarily a district peace building effort. And so I wanted to bring this in for a variety of reasons. One, that it's a highly collaborative project. This was our flyer from an event that we collaborated with with many groups who are listed on the bottom of the flyer. And so how this came about, Kathy Gibson, who we all know very well, I was very honored that she attended an event that I did through my work through World Without Hate the year before we did this. So in May of 2018, I did this event called The Secret Life of Muslims. It was this is a digital docuseries, and I brought the docuseries, so to speak, and a panel event that was different than this, and showed a few of these different episodes from The Secret Life of Muslims to the Gates Foundation Discovery Center. And I was very honored that Kathy came, and one of the first things she said to me after the event was, we have to do this again. We have to bring this back to Seattle. And she didn't have to ask me or tell me twice. And so we started collaborating together and then wanted to make this a district-wide event in which we could collaborate with a variety of Rotary clubs, our district, and other organizations in the community to bring an event like this to fruition, which we were able to do last July. And I wanted to bring this example up for many reasons. One, I'm thrilled that this was such a highly collaborative event. And so some of the sponsors and partners that you see at the bottom of this, the Women's University Club in downtown Seattle, their foundation helped to bring this event here, and they presented the event at their women's club in downtown Seattle, which was a beautiful and amazing space to do this. Having this be a Rotary district-wide event really helped us spread the word, and I am still blown away by the amount of Rotarians that were in the space. There were over a little over 200 people can fit in the space, and we really jam-packed the ballroom that evening. And at least half of the folks came from various Rotary various Rotary clubs. So I'm really excited that that was so such a nice way for all of us to come together and to talk about something of great importance to our society and culture today. And then some of the other organizations that got involved, everybody from the Seattle Human Rights Commission on the city side to a nonprofit organization through the Muslim Association of Puget Sound, and even the Social Justice Film Festival and others. So this is a special event. Ryan, you can continue flipping through just a few photos I shared to show you the folks that were in the room that evening and the kinds, again, thinking outside the box for the kinds of things that we can do as a district and within your own clubs as well. So thinking as big or as small as you'd like to bring folks together on any matter of topics as they connect to peace building. Ryan, you can flip one more time. So this slide is our actual peace building initiatives that have occurred in various clubs throughout our district. Absolutely not an exhaustive list whatsoever. This is just to get you starting to think about what might occur. And I'm sorry, somehow in our uploading, the pictures that went along with this somehow disappeared. But they were just sort of highlights. So everything and anything from an anti-bullying training that took place at the Rotary Boys and Girls Club, Rotary program on implicit bias. If you tuned in last night, you know that one of the really, really important goals that we have as a district, Peacebuilding Initiative coming up in our Rotary year, and I hope for subsequent years as well, is diversity, equity, and inclusion. So implicit bias is a very close cousin and is something that we can consider and anyone can consider working on. We also talked about a district, sort of all district read. You can also do book clubs and discussions in your own club as well. Seattle 4, I referenced last night in our session, has been doing this for almost a year now, reading 2 books and having wonderful, amazing sort of guided conversations afterwards. And it's gotten so popular that we are actually tomorrow having another discussion about one of the books that we read months ago, but the first discussion we had was so rich and felt like we could have been there the entire afternoon. We're doing another discussion. We will talk in much more depth as a district on our last of our 3 sessions on peace building, a little bit more in depth about September 21st, which I know Beth also mentioned as International Peace Day, and how we might come together, but not to say that your club can't do something. For instance, as Beth was saying, Mercer Island is doing this annual event, and I hope that as a district, we sort of can connect the dots and sort of link to all of these wonderful events in and around each September 21st, so that we can really build a region-wide peace celebration and commemoration. I think would be amazing. Obviously, the peace polls are still very popular. More and more clubs are doing it. I just really liked the idea of showing you varying kinds of the peace poles. So something a bit more traditional that you saw with actually planting of the peace poles, to the Woodenville idea of using an existing space and reinventing it. There's been trainings and mediations everywhere from making that kind of thing possible in central Kenya, all the way to at home at the Seattle Holocaust Center. So these are just some ideas that I'm hoping will potentially just tickle you a little bit in terms of inspiration and motivation to start thinking about some of what can be encompassed in some peace building projects for you. Ryan, you can move us along. Oh, okay, so here we go. I'm sorry, that might have been me doing all that.
Oh, my
unintentionally
apologies.
In my presentation.
We went with the clever slides here. So, okay, we'll go to the next one. Oh, those look great. Okay.
Thanks. Here are some ideas. These, again, are ideas that are just more broad in scope. So convening community dialogues, offering a community peace prize and recognition. Of note here, unfortunately, there was so many amazing dedicated people who were involved in our district-wide Peace in Action conference that was supposed to take place in early April that we unfortunately had to cancel due to the coronavirus. But that was going to be an opportunity where we were going to award some peace prizes. Now, I'm really excited to say that that is going to continue to happen, and more information will come because that's going to be happening very soon, this awarding of peace prizes for clubs in our district. And from that, I was really tempted to want to share more about what some of those initiatives were, but I realized I should wait until we have winners announced, and then everyone will get a chance to have their peace building initiative in which they even were nominated for held and shared throughout our district. So I'm excited for you all to see those amazing initiatives. There's some really wonderful and heartwarming and really important projects that I've had a chance to read through and see over the last several months. And again, I think those will be ones to also tune in for some potential inspiration for you. Folks who I'm sure are already familiar with some of these, but sponsoring a Peace Fellow, we will be talking about that particular piece too on Thursday. Peacebuilder Global Grants is another way to support and get involved. So I offer this list as a way to show that you can do something like a special event or a sort of a peace poll kind of initiative, but you can also do peace building work, especially if you're thinking about starting something. I know the audience here is mostly club members who are really engaged in peace building efforts. But for those folks who are starting, we had a lot of those folks on our session yesterday. This seems intimidating, and some people are still not sure about how they want to proceed in peace building efforts. There are ways in which you can get started at a much more potentially reasonable level, especially if you have only a couple of folks in your club who are rallied to get started right away. So even trying to work on a Peacebuilder Global Grant, for example, and getting dollars to projects that are already in existence is a wonderful way to get started. Ryan, you can keep us moving. I did show this slide yesterday, and I wanted to just quickly share it again today. You'll probably see it again on Thursday. This is something that I'm sure people are already familiar with in our group tonight, if you are a majority peace building Rotarians, but the Rotarian Action Group for Peace, which is located actually in Portland, Oregon, really supports Rotary peace building. And when I say that, I'm just still scratching the surface myself of all of the resources, the ideas, the immense network that they provide all on the World Wide Web for us. And I've given you their information. The annual membership is $50. I would definitely recommend every Rotarian to just become a member, especially if you're involved in peace building efforts. But at the very least, having your sort of peace committee become a member and have somebody utilize at least a lot of what they're offering. And I wanted to just make sure I included it here tonight because this is a great way also to go and think about what inspiration you can gather from other clubs, not just obviously in our district, but from all over the world when it comes to peace building. So to me, this is sort of our go-to. We're sort of blessed to have this as our go-to for anything peace building in Rotary. So I just want to make sure that I keep sort of emphasizing this resources for all of us. And then Ryan, we can keep flipping through. So as I mentioned at the top of the hour, and I know we're throwing a lot of information at you, and there's so much more, I wanted to just take the pulse to see, after hearing from Beth and Matt, and then myself as Irv from Woodinville, and some of these just more generic ideas, take this quick poll and let's see where you might be now in terms of how are you feeling in terms of being inspired and even a little bit more prepared, I hope, in taking your peace building efforts to the next level after having attended this session tonight.
And by no means, this is pulling away with it.
Got the answers, so don't think too hard. I always.
Okay, the polling will end in 5 seconds. Okay.
Okay, a resounding yes. fantastic, and not sure, and that's totally fair. And I appreciate that. I think the not sures in the last surveys of the last few, yes, it feels like I'm doing this a lot, but we started this yesterday, this peace building journey. I think that's really great, and I'm really happy to hear from those folks as well. And I hope that we can make a more of a personal connection for the not sure folks, because I want to make sure that resources are available to you as well as other Rotarians, myself included, in how we can help you explore ways of incorporating peace into your clubs, if that seems to be the right fit for you, but you're just not sure. Ryan, you can take us. Okay, so this is one slide again from folks who joined us yesterday. This is my last tease for this is going to be coming up. Kathy Gibson, I'm really excited, is going to be joining us on Thursday afternoon, is our next and last peace building session, in which we're going to talk a lot more about the fact that our District 5030 is an official Rotary Peace Center Peace Builder District. And I don't know if a lot of folks know that. I actually potentially should have made that. Maybe I will make that a survey question for our next session. I did not know that for a while until I really started getting involved at the district level. And so I'm just, number one, really trying to get people to know that this is something that we should be really proud of and honored to be a part of. And that I think it makes it, at least in my opinion, so much more important for us to really rally around peace. Beth said it when we were still talking a little bit offline. You know, peace now more than ever. I think we all feel that, and to be part of such a special initiative and to be official like this, I think helps drive that home for us. To be a part of this particular Rotary Peace Center as a peace builder district, we take district designated funds. I'm a nonprofiter, so I keep wanting to say my philanthropy lingo, but our district designated funds, we have put in a minimum of $25,000 so that we can support these initiatives in these Rotary Peace Centers. And then we will dive deeper into that on Thursday. So this is just my last tease, and also to make sure folks start becoming more comfortable and aware that this is something that we should wear proudly as peace builder Rotarians in our district. And Ryan, you can click us again. We will talk a little bit more about, and actually I'm hoping I will talk less on Thursday, and we can talk more as a group. I'd love to hear from folks about a lot of things, and it will include this as well. The International Day of Peace, as I hope most of you know, is September 21st. Every year. So depending on the day of the week that this falls, I'm hoping that in and around this day, we can continue to make this a really important commemoration, again, for our entire district region. And so I hope that means a variety of things. And we can really think outside the box, but everything from supporting, rallying, and advertising, spreading the word of amazing clubs that are already doing things like Mercer Island, to also, is there a way that we will literally, map those amazing things and have Rotarians and others try to join a day of events, or do we culminate that in something in terms of a special event at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day? I think the creativity can just expand, and I'm really hoping folks will start thinking about this day and what that might mean. And obviously the little caveat that that I know we have to say, and I'm still, I hope we don't have to go here, but this may have to be a virtual event this year. Let's just hope we are fully through our phases. I know there won't be a vaccine yet for our coronavirus, but let's still hope that we can rally together as human beings on Peace Day, but we should think about this being a virtual event as well in case. So just get the juices flowing so that we can talk more about this on Thursday. And then Ryan, we've got a little bit more. This is a repeat slide from yesterday too. I'm going to continue to share it with folks. This is our Facebook. This is just literally a screenshot of our Facebook Rotary 5030 Peace Building group. And it's a private group just give me a little bit of a ding if you're on Facebook, if you're not already joined. I really want this to be a place where we can share all things peace building. And also, when you are a part of this group, you can post and you can share. So I've created this page, but by no means do I want to be the only one sharing information. And so I just put it here so you hopefully can easily find it and join us. We are a growing group, which I'm thrilled about, but knowing that we have so many amazing clubs in our district and a lot more peace builders, though I know not everyone is on Facebook, but I know we can increase the numbers quite a bit and really have this be one of our home bases to connect with one another all the time for all things peace building. The last bit at the bottom of this screen here is my email address for all things peace building for our district. RotaryPeace5030@gmail.com is me. So feel free to send email directly there. That way it filters out of all my other work and frankly garbage emails from other email addresses, and I can actually see and make sure that your emails don't get lost in the fray of spam and the rest. And then Ryan, our last slide. So what I've done for this Festival of Training is to try to grow upon what we've been talking about. So if you joined us yesterday or eventually you go back and look at the recordings, we talked a lot at the foundational front yesterday in terms of what it takes to be a peace builder and at club, and what you might think in terms of doing that, and potentially too just getting a sort of a brush up if you're already a peace building club about what it takes, but on a very sort of more general framework. Tonight, I hope you were able to see that I really wanted to focus, even though there are so many other amazing examples that I wish to share, that at least tonight we got to highlight a few of those so that you can start seeing and really hearing from other people and other clubs about their own experiences and how they have worked and partnered in terms of peace building projects and initiatives. And I will also say, and this will come up again on Thursday, that what I would like to do at the district level is to take some of what you saw tonight and then also ask everyone to continue to share via email is perfectly fine to get us started, because I'd like to highlight and elevate all of these amazing initiatives at the district level. I feel like I'm the conduit to support you all. And so one of the ways I'd love to do that is to find ways of, not just in our Facebook group, but on our 5030 district website and our Facebook group and other social media outlets, and in every other way to really start showing and sharing what people are doing. So don't be shy in contacting me, and we'll talk again more about how we can connect, literally kind of connecting the dots, which is a little bit why I put this join us with all these dots on it. So our next session is on Thursday of this week, and it's an afternoon session. These two sessions, yesterday and today, have been evening, so we are shifting a little bit, so please take note of that. And that's going to be, we are a Peace Builder District. So what's next for us? Please join us. Please join us, especially if you're interested in doing some more on the district leadership level when it comes to peace, because I am rallying as many people as I can to join a committee so that we can get started on kind of building and branching off of all of the wonderful things I'm hearing from you all, and finding ways of really spreading the word, spreading peace, doing things together with all of our clubs, really kind of fortifying all that we're doing. And then making sure that we're elevating all of what you're doing. And so we're going to really be talking sort of on that district level. So do please join us if you can, spread the word, and get other Rotarians who are interested in peace building to join us. And I look forward to seeing you all again. And then Ryan, we can open things up if you're seeing questions and
Excellent. Nancy Pasternak can kick off the discussion. Go ahead.
Sure. My camera doesn't work on this computer, but you may have seen the Park for Disabled Children in Bellevue, which became $1 million project, and we had collaboration from state and federal and all kinds of city governments. And we celebrated the 21st for the International Day of Peace. We celebrated and planted a peace pole there and had a big gathering that ended in a candlelight service. And then we worked with the Bellevue Boys and Girls Club. They had One Love gave a 3-day training on what is abuse and what is not, and how to develop positive relationships. And then we had a peace poster contest, and the winner of the contest is now having her poster painted on a wall on a building in Bellevue. And I hope that this year during the International Day of Peace that we will a parade from our club over to this wall, and we will inaugurate it. And the poster said things like, be caring, be loving, be responsible. She had about 12 different B things, and it was really, really quite wonderful. And the last thing is that after the conference, the 2020 Peace Conference in Ontario, I was inspired and talked with Prabha Sankaran, who is with Mediation Beyond Borders, and found out about a Ukraine peacebuilding, Eastern Ukraine peacebuilding global grant for the people in the occupied and non-occupied areas there. So we are now working together with the Russian people, with actually quite a few people from various countries, to put together this global grant, which is really very exciting. So thank you for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing. They're all amazing and incredible projects, and do please keep us updated on what's happening for I think the unveiling would be amazing to inaugurate the mural for this coming peace.
Oh, I'd love to do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're lucky again. Ajay has here a little feedback. Ajay has joined us from Nepal and had a couple of comments to make. Oh.
Can I? Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah. Yep.
Hello. Greeting from Nepal. This is Rotractor Ajay Yadav. I am going to serve as International Service Director for my Rotary Club. And I'm very much fascinated by the Rotary Peace Pole project, which you mentioned in your presentation. And I'm going to talk with my Rotary president as well as my parent Rotary president, to launch the similar project here in my place. It's something very much inspiring. Thank you very much for that amazing presentation. And I wish you very much good luck for the upcoming days, especially with those projects. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing, and do reach out to us and we can connect you with clubs that have been doing these projects, and there's obviously lots of amazing ways to partner as well. So definitely stay connected to us.
There's also a question about just getting copies of the presentations, and do you have a good answer for that, Jessica?
I do. So 2 answers. One, Joel, I see that this is your question. All of these presentations from this entire festival are being recorded, and then there's a dedicated YouTube channel for all of these. So that's going to be just one way to be able to go back and see this in its entirety. And then I know, and again, I think the sort of best way to then take the next part of this answer is to email me at my Gmail address that I shared, because then I'm more than happy to make the individual presentations available to folks. I know, for example, you may be interested in Beth's presentation that she shared, and I know that her slide deck, she said she's more than happy to share. So I will double check to make sure how she wants that shared, potentially in a PDF format or something like that. I will also be more than happy to, sort of direct link to folks, but feel free to start with me, and then we can make any kind of presentation or any material that you want available to share with you and anyone else. So spread the word as well.
Excellent. Are there other comments or questions people have? You can use the raise hand feature or type it in the questions. Looks like you answered everything. So.
Wow. If only that were the case all the time, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will just reiterate the email is Rotary Peace 5030, all connected as one word, Rotary Peace 5030 at gmail.com. Ryan put it on your screen again for you. Feel free to, I hope actually you not having any questions means maybe that your minds are racing in terms of all the kinds of information and things that you want to bring back to your clubs. I'm thrilled for that if that's the case. And again, my email is there. Please feel free to drop me a note and we can have conversations like this. I hope soon I get a chance to actually come back to clubs and visit, because that was something I was very eager to do and trying to get around the region. I'd love to get to every club in our district, at least every Peace Builder club to start. Until then, happy to do anything I can virtually to really connect us and keep the conversation going. So this is just the beginning, certainly not the end. And then I will just make one more plug for our session on Thursday afternoon. I hope you will join us and not be tired of peace building. It's our third and last session. And have a wonderful evening if there are no other questions or comments.
Great, well, thank you all.
Thank you. Special thanks to Ryan. You have been my foundation here in trying to navigate all of this. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.